founder and co-creator of Diverse Earth, an organization that has been working at this interface of nature, culture, and spirituality. She's also the chair of the IUCN Specialist Group on Religion, Spirituality, Environmental Conservation, and Climate Justice, as well as working to support indigenous, spiritual, and rural communities and their cultural practices that protect and care for nature. Diverse Earth also focuses on the protection, management, and restoration of sacred natural sites and facilitating interreligious dialogue. With over 25 years of experience with social, cultural, and human rights issues and conservation, she consults regularly for WWF, IUCN, and other conservation organizations. She's a practitioner of yoga and qigong, a dancer of Bharatanatyam, and a student of the Shaolin arts and general explorer of the body and mind. Welcome, Liza.
that was way too extensive. Sorry about that. Okay, hello everybody. It's great to be here. Have a look at my cryptic title for my presentation. Thank you, Emily, for creating such a different space. Right, so I was really happy to see that. So, yeah, I'm Liza. I don't need to say anything else about myself. Just that I'm never working in the nature conservation community. Does Chantal? I never see myself as a sociologist or a conservation practitioner, but really just come to these issues as a human being, guided by my own practices. So my presentation today will be on chaos, calm, and the body as the bridge between the inner and the outer. Otherwise, I was going to put why traditional nature conservation will never work. And I'm going to give some glimpses of harmony in terms of sacred sites and sacred species, many of the things that Chantal has already touched upon. So here goes, bear with me if I've gone too far left field. Well, let's see. So I thought it would be helpful to start with how we think about nature, culture, and spirituality, which is the key focus of Diverse Earth, our organization. Nature is that which is beyond thought. Culture is the flowering of goodness. And spirituality, the deepest inquiry into life and living. And so in many ways, this today is, I see it as a spiritual endeavor, a meditation almost, as we inquire into these deepest possible issues. Right. So the key, I think it's very obvious that the whole world is in complete chaos. I think we see it, more and more in terms of the violence of all sorts, the discrimination of all sorts. I think you guys are talking a lot about intolerance and discrimination and things like immense poverty and immense wealth, climate change and the destruction of our beautiful planet, of course. So all of these, make this chaos. And so what I'd like to do is kind of walk you through a different theory of change, and think about, what has caused the chaos. So what is it that causes this chaos, the wars and the violence and the discrimination? Human beings, right? So we have caused it. We maintain it, we fuel it, and why? Why is that the case? What makes human beings act like this? And we know that any action starts from the inside, from thought. And thought, therefore, has thought created all of this mess. So if it's clear that human beings have created the outer disorder that we can see, the chaos, we have to ask ourselves, is it because we ourselves live with great inner disorder? right? And so many of our spiritual traditions are saying the same thing basically. So what then is the relationship between the inner and the outer? What has, for instance, biodiversity loss got to do with the inner state of human beings? So I think we have to go into very deeply why there is such disorder and ask ourselves really seriously, is the outer disorder different from the inner disorder at all? Or is it one movement? Is the outer disorder a result of our inner disorder? I'm sorry if you've already thought about all of this. Then, of course, comes the logical question. So where then, if it's because of our inner disorder that there's this outer disorder, and it doesn't matter if 80-odd% of us are adhering to a particular faith, look at the chaos is still there, right? So we have to look deeper. What is the cause of all this? So where do we begin to bring about any order? Is it out there or is it in here? Right. So if I am humanity, I am mankind, I don't know if that's politically correct anymore, and I live in chaos internally, inwardly, disorder, conflict, struggle, can order or any solutions be created out of this disorder? And then if we think of, so why is this disorder, we have to ask, is it because then we are in some sort of perpetual conflict? And is that conflict sparked by the psychological creation that we maintain of all sorts of divisions? Because isn't it true that where there is division, there is conflict? And so division of nation, division of ideology, division of religions, division of me and the other, divisions between me, human beings, and nature. So all of these divisions we've created psychologically and maintained psychologically, is this the root of the disorder? So I would say many human beings have separated themselves from nature. Many have not. But there's an ignorance of the logic that we're so obviously a part of it. Just like the ant or the flower or whatever, the human being is that. And this perceived separation from nature has put us in conflict with it. And so, because of this separation, we don't feel that we're part of it, and therefore we don't feel a responsibility to take care of it. So I think, for me, where there is division, there's conflict. Where there's conflict, there's disorder. And the disorder expresses itself in the wars and the violence and the environmental destruction. So the inner is the outer. I think it's logical. But are we at all really aware of that in any other way than theoretically? Not, so intellectually is one thing, but then moving, that won't make any difference. So I can tell you that many of the conservation organizations are saying, that the root of this problem is the loss of connection, but that's as far as it goes. We're not then thinking, okay, well, what needs to be done? We're not thinking about it because otherwise our response to outer chaos would be radically different, right? If we would start to look internally at our psychological structure, instead of thinking about outer structures, like the political structure, social structure, whatever structures are out there, which may help a little in the short term, but never get to the real root of the problem. So I think the question then is, can we live a life that's completely free of conflict or division? Can there be freedom at all from this self-centered activity. And this is meditation, right? To find out, figure out, to continually meditate on how to live in this world without this division, without the self-centeredness. Right, okay, sorry. So if we acknowledge that the inner is the outer, then the human body is in the middle of that, the bridge between the inner and the outer, between mind and action. Of course, this is only one way of looking at things, but in my life practice personally, this is the way that I find silence, right? Because I think, so if the root of the disorder is this, is thought and psychological, then the first thing we need to do is silence, is be quiet. And for me, the body arts, those arts that have been themselves created from nature, have sprung from nature, and have been inspired by nature, is one way to perceive the silence, which is the first step. So these Eastern body arts, so